Mafia Connections. Part 1, Ashes and Echoes. By the time Athena felt the cold barrel of the pistol against her temple, she knew. This was the end. Her life unraveled in flashes, memories, mistakes, moments too small to matter and too loud to forget. She had waited for this day her whole life, without ever imagining how final it would feel. Her heart thundered. She, the last piece of her family's empire, now used as the final weapon to destroy it. She closed her eyes. And the past rushed in. Daniel Harrington was a titan in property development. Half of Sicily praised him as a savior, the man who rebuilt cities from rubble. Always at his side, Athena, a quiet teenager who followed him to every site. "It'll all be yours one day, princess." She'd nod dutifully. "Yes, father." But her smile never reached her eyes. She wanted music, not mortar. She wanted to sing, not inherit concrete empires. Daniel's business dealings left a sour taste in her mouth. The hero the public worshipped was not the man who raised her. He ruled with intimidation masked as generosity, made enemies under the guise of expansion, especially the notorious Otoma crime family. There were threats. There was violence. And worst of all, there were strangers constantly drifting in and out of their Tuscan villa. Athena retreated, withdrawing into her music, her room, her silence. At 18, she begged to leave. Her father sent her to her aunt in Spain. And for the first time in her life, Athena breathed. Spain was her sanctuary. She shed her father's name and became Athena Alba. She rose song by song, stage by stage, until she was a celebrated artist, headlining sold-out shows across Europe. She had escaped. Until the email came. Her father was dead, killed in a territorial war. And just like that, the past pulled her back. Athena returned to Italy for the funeral. One last tie. One last duty. Her chest grew tighter as the plane descended. The airport was filled with ghosts she hadn't invited. She stood inside the Tuscan villa, surrounded by echoes. Nothing had changed, except the people who once filled the halls were gone. Her father's business, his empire, his legacy, it meant nothing to her. She wanted no part of it. The board begged her to reconsider. She refused. The villa was the only thing she kept. Her mother's memory still lived in its walls. She buried her father, not with words, but with music. Sitting cross-legged at his grave, Athena strummed her guitar and sang to the soil. Regret, anger, pain, goodbyes. Each note wrapped around her like a storm and a prayer. She didn't notice the shadow, didn't hear the footsteps. Not until the cold press of a pistol returned, this time against her temple. "Principessa," a woman's voice said. Mocking, laced with something else. Something dangerous. Athena froze. Her heart pounded louder than her song. She turned slowly. The sun behind the woman cast her in flame. Black leather jacket, crisp white shirt open at the collar, cream slacks hugging her hips, and eyes, icy blue, burning into her. The woman smirked. "Do you approve?" Athena's breath caught. The woman's beauty struck like lightning, but the gun kept her rooted in fear. "Who are you?" "Why the gun?" she asked. "You grew up Principessa. But you're the only thing standing between me and my destiny." The tone was colder than the steel she held. Athena straightened, fire beginning to rise in her chest. "I just came to bury my father." The woman didn't flinch. "Oh, I know exactly who you are. And I came for revenge." Part 2, Sparks and Shadows. Panic surged in Athena's chest. The name Otoma rose like bile in her throat. This woman wasn't just anyone. She was Veronica Otoma, heir to the very crime family that haunted her father's legacy. "I'm not part of his world," Athena said, her voice trembling but honest. "I left before it could destroy me." Veronica's gaze didn't soften. "Oh? Is that so?" she said, sarcasm dripping like venom. Athena reached for her guitar, intent on walking away. But a hand gripped her wrist tight, commanding. "I said no sudden movements." Athena's eyes burned. She snapped. In a blur of motion, grace born from years of martial training, she twisted, disarmed Veronica, and had the gun pressed against her throat in seconds. The look on Veronica's face was priceless, part surprise, part intrigue. I said I'm leaving. Stay down and no one gets hurt. Veronica laughed, a sound that sparked fire in Athena's veins. Athena threw the gun aside, slung her guitar over her shoulder, and stormed away. Behind her, Veronica's voice rang out, teasing and dark. Game on, Principessa. Back at the villa, Athena shook as she poured herself a scotch. Her hands trembled. The gun. The stranger. The smirk. She thought she'd buried her past. She was wrong. And those eyes, icy, mocking, impossibly deep, haunted her like smoke in her lungs. She tried to drown them in sleep. It didn't work. The knock came early. Soft, deliberate. Unsettling. Athena opened the door, and there stood Veronica Odoma again. Dressed down but still dangerous, her slacks hung low on her hips, her leather jacket unzipped over a pale tank top. Athena didn't hide her annoyance. Didn't get the message yesterday? Veronica raised both hands. Relax, Principessa. I didn't come to fight. I came to talk. Athena hesitated. Against every instinct, she stepped aside. Coffee was poured. Tension steeped the silence. Finally, Athena broke it. Why are you here? Veronica played with her spoon. You intrigued me. That answer didn't soothe. Athena shifted uncomfortably. She felt Veronica's gaze, slow, consuming, undressing. Who are you really? Veronica Odoma. The name hit Athena like a slap. The most feared name in Italy. And what would the Mafia Queen want with me? For a flicker of a second, a flicker, something like disappointment passed through Veronica's eyes. You make it sound like a fairy tale, she said. I'm just a businesswoman. Athena laughed bitterly. My father was killed by your kind. Don't sit here pretending. That hit harder than Athena expected. Veronica slammed her cup down, spilling coffee across the floor. My kind, she spat. Your father killed my mother and sister. So don't stand there pretending you're innocent. The room fell into a storm of silence. Veronica left before Athena could speak. The days blurred. Estate meetings. Business signovers. The final dismantling of her father's empire. She only kept the villa. That was her mother's dream, and now her own. She saw Veronica again, unexpectedly arguing with a tall blonde woman outside a cafe. Athena watched as the woman slapped Veronica across the face. Veronica didn't flinch. But the moment her eyes locked with Athena's across the glass, something inside shifted. Pain. Rage. And beneath it, something else. Athena fled. She couldn't face what was rising inside her. Not now. Not for her. Veronica sat in her office, surrounded by silence that felt like judgment. Whiskey. Glass. Fury. Fuck. She drove, alone, to the villa's edge. She didn't knock. She stood under the moonlight, obsidian hair swaying in the wind, eyes full of chaos and longing. Athena stepped out, breath catching. The air between them was electric. Then, like magnets colliding, they kissed. Fierce. Messy. Desperate. Athena broke the kiss. I hate you. I hate how you forced yourself into my heart. Veronica kissed her again, this time soft. Deep. True. They clung to each other, hungry and breathless, melting into each other like fire to flame. Part 3. Flame and Surrender. The villa wrapped them in quiet warmth. The fire crackled as they walked back, hand in hand, breath still ragged from the kiss that had undone them both. Veronica draped a blanket around Athena's shoulders, then turned to feed the dying embers in the fireplace. Athena's voice trembled behind her. Our worlds are light and dark. We're doomed. Veronica turned. Her smile was soft, uncharacteristically so. I didn't plan this, she said. But I want a future with you, if you'll have me. Athena reached for her, pulling her down onto the couch. Their foreheads touched. The space between them vanished. I've never felt like this, Athena whispered. I've never wanted someone so badly. I didn't even know I needed this. Veronica kissed her again. This kiss wasn't a demand, it was a vow. They melted into each other, breathless, desperate, whole. Veronica lifted Athena gently, carried her to the bedroom, her mouth never leaving hers. The fire between them flared into an inferno. Veronica undressed her slowly, reverently, her eyes drinking in every inch. Athena's breath came in shallow waves. "You're beautiful," Veronica whispered, lips brushing her collarbone. Her touch was a slow burn, lips, hands, tongue tracing paths of worship across Athena's body. Moans escaped freely, echoing against the villa walls. Athena begged, and Veronica answered, claiming her, tasting her, igniting her until Athena shattered into moans and trembling limbs. She wasn't just touched. She was devoured. Then Athena, wild and radiant, flipped her beneath her, eyes lit with hunger. Veronica gasped as Athena entered her with a rhythm that had nothing to do with control and everything to do with soul. They moved like waves, like stars collapsing and rebirthing. They didn't make love. They made something ancient. And when they were spent, tangled in limbs and breath, Veronica whispered hoarsely, "You ruined me, Athena Alba." Athena laughed softly, curling into her. "Did I break the Mafia Queen?" "No," Veronica said. "You breathed life into her." They fell asleep like that, Athena half draped across Veronica, their bodies still humming with the aftershock of something bigger than desire. The next morning, sunlight spilled across the bed. Athena woke to Veronica's arm draped possessively around her waist. She watched her sleep, studied her, then kissed her gently. Veronica stirred, eyes still closed, but lips finding Athena's with perfect aim. They tangled again, slow and lazy and honest. Athena teased her with tongue and fingertips, driving Veronica to beg. "Claim me," she whispered, and Athena did, with mouth and fire and a hunger that felt like truth. When the roles reversed and Veronica's fingers found her again, Athena sobbed into her shoulder, breaking open, not from pain, but from finally being seen. "I'm addicted to you, Bambina," Veronica whispered. "Good," Athena smiled. "You're mine now." They lay in the glow of aftermath, breath sinking, hearts thudding in unison. Then Athena's phone buzzed. She read the message, groaned. "My manager. I forgot I added one last tour date." Veronica looked at her, unbothered. "When are we leaving?" Athena blinked. "You're coming with me?" Veronica smirked. "Did you think this was a one-night thing?" "You're stuck with me, Alba." Tears welled up in Athena's eyes. She buried her face in Veronica's neck. "You're really giving all this up for me?" Veronica held her tighter. In a heartbeat. Part 4, Blood and Vows. The days that followed were a blur of soft mornings and whirlwind nights. Athena prepared for the tour. Veronica shifted leadership of her empire to her most trusted second. They lived in motion, but anchored in each other. Athena would glance across the room and find Veronica watching her, not with control, not with lust, but with something quiet and eternal. Veronica's walls had fallen, and in their place stood home. One evening, Athena lay on the couch, eyes closed, her guitar resting on her chest. Veronica paced on the phone, speaking low in Italian. Her voice, once sharp with power, now sounded centered. Athena listened. "Marco, they came into our home. A message must be sent." She paused. "Do it clean. And do it before the week's end." Athena didn't flinch. She stood and met Veronica's gaze. "You know who it was?" Veronica nodded. And Athena, quietly, heartbreakingly, understood. There was no fight. No protest. Just a silent bond between two women who'd both lost too much to let danger breathe. Friday evening, Veronica's phone chimed. She looked at it, then at Athena. "It's done, Bambina." Athena exhaled. For the first time in her life, she didn't recoil from the shadows. She accepted them as part of the cost of loving someone forged in fire. Months passed. The villa became theirs. Veronica turned it into the vineyard Athena's mother always dreamed of. They bottled wine. They taught music. They built a life that felt both ancient and brand new. They never spoke of the shooting again. Of revenge. Of blood. They chose the light. But the past didn't forget them. That night, the knock on the door was soft. Unassuming. Almost forgettable. Athena and Veronica were curled on the couch, watching the fire dance across the stone hearth. Veronica rose, smiled back at Athena, and opened the door. The crack of the gunshot echoed like a scream from hell. Blood soaked her white shirt. Her body jerked. Fell. Athena dropped her glass, running to her before she hit the floor. Her hands pressed over the wound, shaking. No, 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 no. You do not leave me now. She screamed, pleaded, prayed. The paramedics found her blood-soaked, holding Veronica's body, refusing to let go. CPR. Pressure. Lights flashing. A faint heartbeat. A fragile hope. They took her from Athena's arms and into the ambulance. Athena stood in the hospital hallway, trembling, her dress soaked in blood. She slid down the wall and waited. The doctor finally came. The bullet missed her heart but punctured a lung. She's critical but stable. The next 24 hours. Athena didn't need to hear more. She was already inside the ICU, already at Veronica's side, holding her hand. She didn't sleep. She didn't speak. She just stayed. Morning light crept in. Veronica stirred. Bambina, she whispered, throat dry. Athena's head snapped up. She flung herself into her arms, sobbing. You're alive. Don't you ever scare me like that again. Veronica smiled faintly. You're not getting rid of me that easily. She stayed a week in the hospital. Athena never left. When she was discharged, Athena drove them home. She hovered. Veronica grumbled. I'm not an invalid, Bambina. Athena glared. You almost died. Veronica softened, pulled her close. I'm sorry. I know what that did to you. Weeks passed. Veronica healed. And one night, Athena overheard her again, calm, cold, in Italian. Marco. This time, no loose ends. Veronica turned and saw Athena watching. No fear. No judgment. Only understanding. That Friday, another message arrived. It's done, Bambina. Athena nodded. She didn't ask for details. Some justice came with blood. And sometimes, peace required it. Part 5, Vows in the Fire. The seasons shifted gently around them. Life became rhythm. Vineyard harvests. Music lessons. Late-night dinners and slow dances in the kitchen, barefoot, laughing, breathing each other in like air. They never spoke again of blood or enemies. Only of love. Of roots. Of always. One golden afternoon, they sat on the back porch of the villa, glasses of wine in hand, watching the sun slip behind the hills. Veronica reached out, tucking a strand of hair behind Athena's ear with a touch so tender it made the world still. I love you, Bambina. And I don't want to live another day without you. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Athena gasped. Veronica opened it slowly inside, a ring that shimmered like the setting sun on wine-dark water. Athena Harrington Alba, say yes, and make me the happiest woman on this earth. Tears welled in Athena's eyes. Yes, oh God, yes. Veronica slipped the ring onto her finger and kissed her softly, like a promise, like a seal, like home. They didn't plan a grand wedding. They didn't need a crowd. Just firelight. Vows whispered between glasses of wine. Hands pressed to hearts. Two broken, beautiful women made whole by each other. Athena called her mine. Veronica whispered forever. Their life unfolded quietly. No more chaos. Just fullness. Athena's music became softer, more soul-bound. Veronica's wine business flourished. They shared every sunset, every quiet morning, every tangled sheet, and shared breath like it was borrowed time they finally owned. On the anniversary of their vow, they sat in the same spot on the porch. Athena rested her head on Veronica's shoulder. To think, you pointed a gun at me the first time we met. Veronica chuckled. And you had me on my back within seconds. They laughed. And it echoed, free, easy home. The world outside moved on. But inside that villa, two women burned quietly, eternally. Not broken. Not ruined. Risen. The end. And the beginning of forever. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe and like this video and follow me for more stories. You are always welcome here, and leave me a comment or a thumbs up, just letting me know if you like the story and would like more, or is there perhaps an idea that you would like to share or let me write for you.